In this video, we're going to catch up with the latest moves for the oil and gold markets and the levels to watch if you're trading it in the days ahead. Hello, I'm David Jones from Capital.com. This is our weekly update with what's been going on with oil and gold. These are two interesting markets at the moment. First of all, we've seen a big slide, relatively speaking, in oil over the last few days. The main catalyst for this has been the announcement that Libya is going to resume production of oil. So more supply traditionally means the price goes down. And also there's a feeling that maybe we'll see softer than first thought sanctions from the US towards Iran. So that has weighed on the oil price. We're going to look at that in a second. But first of all, let's start off looking at gold. I said last time round, this was an interesting market because we had seen some strength, some early signs of strength coming in ahead of a level that had been bought in December. But I said the real test would be if it sells off again, do we see the same thing happening? And it's early days, but we are. So let's take a look at the price of gold because there's a really big level to watch out for on this one. So here's our daily chart for the price of gold going back just over a year. I think this is interesting because of what's happening at the moment. We were picking up on this level last time round. The price of gold, traded as low as about $12.37 an ounce back on the 3rd of July. Now this does tie up with a big level from back here. On the live webinar this week we were looking at this, so 12.36 were the lows from here. And I was saying a week ago, what will be interesting will be if the price sells off again. Does this level hold? And at the time of the recording, at the end of the week, we are seeing the price of gold holding above this old big level. So if the price is going to rally from anywhere, this is a pretty good place, because it was such an area where sentiment changed in the past. We had an oversold RSI when the price was slipping. We don't really have bullish divergence because the price has made a higher low and so has the RSI. But it's interesting down here. We still have this downtrend in place that's coming in around about 12.70, 12.75 an ounce. So I don't think we're going to see the price be up at sort of 1300 anytime soon. But I think it's interesting to see if gold continues to build a base down at these levels. So 12.35 is really the big one to watch. Let's take a look on the hourlies. So we can just see this a bit closer up. There was the reversal last week of 12.38, rallied up to 12.65, so nearly a $30 move. So 2.5% move for the price of gold. Sold off again, and you can see towards the end of the week we've seen buyers come back in. So I think it's a really interesting area to watch to see if we do get some sort of base being built here and the start of a recovery for gold. Of course, the flip side is if that level breaks, it's a pretty major level, and I think the risk is then we'll start looking for a run back to the lows that we saw in December 2017, just ahead of the 1200 mark. But for now, this 12.35, big level to watch for gold. So there we go, that 12.35 level has been really important in gold, and so far over the last couple of weeks it's proving to be the case again. Let's see if the gold price can stage a more significant recovery from here. And let's take a look at oil. It's had a fairly big slide the last couple of days after some relatively quiet trading, and this was after it moved out to its best levels for many years again, above $73 a barrel. But the slide, I don't think yet, means that big trend is over. There's a really important area to watch for oil. So let's take a look at the chart. So here's our longer term chart for the price of oil. I think this remains a really interesting market for a couple of reasons. First of all, the price over the last 13 months or so has gone from $42 a barrel to 73. So we've seen something like a 70% rally in the price of oil. In the last couple of weeks, it has pushed out to fresh highs, the highest level it's been since 2014. But we haven't seen any follow through. So there's maybe been a bit less conviction to carry on being a buyer. And indeed, over the last couple of days, you can see from the two candlesticks here at the end, the price has sold off fairly heavily, from 73 down to sort of $68.50 a barrel. What's going to be interesting is if we see the price continue to be under pressure. We've got this trend line, this 1 year trend line now coming in about $65. We've got the lows from the 18th of June, so just under a month ago, ahead of 63. So 63 to 65 is the big support for oil. If that trend is going to continue, we'd expect the weakness to stop ahead of there. So I think it's maybe not a market to expect it to bounce today, but over the next couple of days, how do we see the price of oil perform if we do slip down to those lows? If we start breaking below 63, it looks like that recovery could well be starting to be over, and we have to start looking for much lower price targets for oil. Let's just take a look on the hourly chart. So you can see the move. We'd had a fairly quiet sort of end of June, beginning of July, stuck in a sideways range, and it started the last couple of days started selling off. So it is now really about where does it stop, and for me it's that big trend line and these old lows. That's the level to watch. So it's going to be really interesting to come back to that in a week's time, see if it has drifted back down to here, and if history has repeated itself and the buyers have come back in. So there we go. I think two of the more interesting markets to watch at the moment. Oil, because we're still in this big uptrend, and the weakness so far hasn't changed that. Gold, because this big level from, 7-8 months ago now, has come back into play again. So plenty to watch, I think, for these two in the days ahead. We'll start wrapping things up there as usual. If you have any questions or you've got a different view, leave us a message in the comments down below. Every Wednesday lunchtime, we do a live broadcast on our YouTube channel, 12:30 Wednesday lunchtime UK time, where we take a look at the major markets, so FX, indices, cryptocurrencies, and of course oil and gold. So make sure you get notified of that, and you do that by subscribing to the channel and click the notification icon, and you'll always hear whenever we upload a new video. But for this week, from me, David Jones and Capital.com, we'll leave it there, and I hope you have a good trading week.